Hello, my name is Zikhona intombi yakwa Mahleka eMonti uMangcwangula, and I am now married and Zikhona Dayile. Actually, Sothembela Dayile.
Okay, my name is Siyathemba Dayile. I'm originally from Port Elizabeth, eBhayi. I grew up there, went to school eBhayi, and I met my wife when I was in Cape Town.
I met my husband in 2013, 28th of April. It was a Sunday afternoon, a sunny Sunday afternoon. So I used to go to church in Gugulethu, and I went to church that Sunday morning, left church, went back to my apartment, and a friend of mine, a home girl, also from East London, called me and said, "Hi friend, Sikwamzoli, we're having meet, come through." So I decided, you know what, it won't hurt. Let me just go and have some meat nam Kwamzoli. So I went back Kwamzoli, and then Anfika, my homeboys, so a group of friends of ours from Tanzania were there. So when I got there, there's like, I think 2 or 3 guys that I don't know, because I knew my squad from Tanzania. So when I got there, there's about 2 or 3 guys I didn't know, I didn't pay any attention. My friend and I, as well as the other guys, were just sitting and chatting. And then with my shoe, and then I asked my now husband, this one of these guys, please hold my phone.
2013, I think it was April the 28th. We met Kwamzoli. Nani ngumfana ojivayo, okay. So I was out with a group of friends. Funny thing, we were in Khayelitsha first before I went back to Gugulethu. And I always say that, you know, it wasn't a coincidence when we met. So when I arrived in Gugulethu, I met a group of friends whom that knew her, and it was the first time I saw her. And when I saw her, I couldn't take my eyes off her. And I think I remember I stopped everything that I was doing, you know, and I just concentrated on her. And, you know, the moment came where she had to tie her shoes. And when I jumped, you know, and took the opportunity to go and carry her phone and her bag, and I thought, okay, this is opportunity now. Let me speak to her.
I tied my shoe, and then I got my phone back. So I continued talking to my friend, and my friend kept saying, "Hey, Chomi, this guy is eyeing you." But with me, I was like thinking, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. And at that time, I was just trying to get my life in order. With regards to my spirituality, my life with God. So I was trying to just mend, you know. So my focus was on the things of God. So I was not looking for mfana in any way.
So I tried to make a conversation with her. She didn't seem so interesting, but you know, I think she acknowledged that, you know, I was a gentleman when I offered to take her phone. Then what happened is that I ended up, you know, speaking more, you know, to her. And then eventually, I mean, on the spot, I asked for her number.
So, my friend, while she's telling this, I'm like, oh man, please, I'm not interested. And besides, I would never have thought about I'd meet my husband, Kwamzoli, or a boyfriend, Kwamzoli of all places. I mean, I wanted a God-fearing man. So the expectation was that I was going to meet this man at church. or at a church event, you know. So Kamzoli was just, no, not Kamzoli. I was not expecting anything like that. So my friend keeps telling me about Lomfana, get Lomfana. I'm like, friend, no man, he's not my type and I'm not interested. Anyway, by the end of, later on in the afternoon, I can't remember how he asked for my number. I really can't. And I can't believe myself because I actually gave him my number after all these things.
I remember she did ask me, what am I going to do with her number? Then I told her that, I'd like for us to be friends, and I think then she gave me her number, and then I saved the number. I immediately started chatting with her on the side while we were standing with a group of guys.
Anyway, I gave him my number, and I left because it was getting quite dark, and I lived quite some distance from Gamzor. So I left, and when I left, he kept texting me, checking me, are you home? Are you okay? And I was like, this guy is actually sweet. But I still didn't think that anything would come from it because I just thought he was sweet, and I was like, I'm not in the mood. I'm just not in a place where I was going to date.
She ended up leaving. Then I decided also I'm going home. And then, all the way driving home, I was busy on the phone with her, just trying to connect with her, just trying to get to know her better. So that's how we met.
So that was our first day meeting. We chatted, and he chatted with me like throughout the night. And I just thought that he just said the right things. He was just super sweet, and that is how he got a chance with me, even after meeting Kwamzulu. So on the Monday, which was following the Sunday that we'd met, he called me and he asked if he could come pick me up at work. I remember asking my colleagues to peep out of the window and take the registration of the car, take pictures of him. I even said to him that he must come out of the car so that my colleagues could take pictures of him. So he came to pick me up, and we drove back to my place. And as we drove back to my place, he was just so sweet. I'd never met a guy that was just as sweet as he was. I think that's what attracted me to him. But it was not even an attraction of a in love type of feeling. It wasn't that type of feeling. I can say that my spirit was more attracted to him because he was really not what I'd imagined. So when we were talking, I was like, wow, there's just something about this guy. I don't know what it is, and I can't say that I'm in love with him. We chatted, he dropped me off at my place. We had a very lengthy conversation, and while we are driving back to my place, there's a sister from church that was at my apartment waiting for me. Now, I'm thinking to myself, I want to ask him to drop me off further down in the street, because I'm thinking, how am I going to explain this to my sister from church that's waiting there because she's going to see him? And I just thought to myself, you know what, I'll just make up something, because I wasn't going to say I met a guy, Kwamzoli, to this sister from church, and I gave him my number, and now he's coming back to fetch me from work. That was just not going to make sense. So he dropped me off at the gate, and I can't even remember what I said, because the sister asked, it's like, who's that guy? I was like, no, I think I just said it's a guy from work that gave me a lift home that was going past my neighborhood. And ever since then, we literally spoke throughout the day at work. We were texting, we were calling. And eventually, this one day, he came to pick me up from work. And then he officially asked me out that, can we please just try something out? And I was like, try something out? Just didn't see him now. I'm not trying anything out, and I'm not looking for a man. I'm busy sorting out my life. I don't want any distractions. And he just said, no, he's not going to be any distraction. I said, your ways are not the same as mine. So what does light have to do with the dark? You know? And he was very sweet about it, though. I think that was it. He was like, no, I'm not going to take you out of your ways. We're going to do this the right way, and vada vada vada. Went on, and that's when it began. That's when the dating began, and he can continue from there.
Yeah. So, yeah, like my wife puts it, we then ended up, seeing each other more. You know, I got attracted more to her, and I always thought that she's gorgeous, and I just wanted to be next to her all the time. And so when she was going to church, sometimes I would drop her off, attending church events, and then I would stay behind. And I sort of got bored by doing that. And I think also, I was someone that grew up, in church. And it's just that when I came to Cape Town, I never really found a home. So I was still, trying to find, the right place to go to church with. So when she was going to church all the time, I then just decided on this one day that I'm going to join her. And yeah, I never looked back.
So with him dropping me off at church and leaving and not going into church, I kept saying that whenever he drops me off, and Gaba Zalwani, they will ask, who's that fetching you? And I kept saying, no, it's my brother. that's my brother. And I remember our leader, ladies at the time, used to say, why your brother? Why doesn't your brother come to church? And I'd be like, I don't know, but he's just transporting me to church. So there's a few times, there's a lady that lived close by me. So this lady, I asked my brother to give this lady a lift as well. So I gave this lady a lift a few times. So this lady picked up in the car, there's no brother sisterhood going on here. So she came to me and she said, Skona, I can see, I know that this is not your brother, and I'm going to report you. I think I was like, oh my gosh. And at that time, we were already in talks of marriage, because I'd made very clear to him that I am not I don't want to be in a relationship with no direction. If you are wanting to be in a relationship with me, I want to get married. And I asked him, do you want to get married? And he said yes. And I said, do you want to get married to me? Do you want to marry me? And he said yes. And I remember I used to say to him, take me out, show me, take me out on my birthday, buy me gifts, buy me a gift. And I still remember the one gift he bought me that was not that great. It was like that was not that great. It was not that great at all. But he begged from a shop, makulu. This bag that he bought me. So I remember he bought me this bag, and I was like, no ways. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take you in my place, and I'm going to show you the kind of bags that I have, so that you buy me things that you see are in my closet. So at that time, when the sister told me about this, that she was going to report me, already he had made his intention that he wants to marry me, and he was going to sort out his life in terms of finances so that he can go and pay lobola. So I tell the sister, I was like, please don't jeopardize it now. He's already in plans of marriage. Eventually, so that he can go to my family as well. The girl was like, nope, I am going to report you. So I thought to myself, okay, the best shot is let me report myself. So I think I texted our leader at that time. I was like, remember, my brother is not my brother. He's actually my husband to be. He's not my boyfriend, he's my husband to be. And my leader wanted to see me. So I remember at that time, Yeah, at that time, he was already coming to church. Yes, at that time, he was already coming to church. And we were living as brother and sister and giving abazalwane a lift. And then I told my leader, and then my leader took it to a higher department. Now that's when we were called in, and we were told that he explained his intentions. We had meeting after meeting, and he explained that he was actually, I think he even actually gave them a figure that I've already collected so much, and I'm planning to go home to Port Elizabeth to speak to my uncles on such a date, so that my uncles can go to East London to go and uyocela into.
I think, for me, I already knew, like I mentioned, I loved everything about my wife, and I wanted, to commit to her. I think I wanted marriage more than her, at one point, because I remember when I proposed, she really didn't expect it. I don't think, because yeah, she didn't expect it. And then, I had already had plans to obviously go to my family, and it was sort of quite a big step for me, and because I knew, my family and, our background and how traditional and strict, they are. So I couldn't just, phone, and so I needed to make an appointment, go and gather my uncles, And I remember when I got home, or when I eventually went to the Eastern Cape, when I got there, I called the meeting, and my dad was not part of that meeting. He started going, because he used to have a transport business. So he just decided, he had people driving for him for some time, just decided on this day, I'm like, this guy, I'm all the way from Cape Town, and he decides to go to Grahamstown, and he's not going to be part of this. So, but then, my older brother was there as well with some of my uncles, and we spoke, and, at one point, I was told that, no, this can't happen now. And, I felt so disappointed, and I felt like, but how am I going to come back and explain, to my wife that, what, my family is declining, all of this, But I thought, one thing, let me fight for what I believe. And when they saw that, one of my cousins, actually, who was part of the team of uncles, I think they were grooming him at the time. He was married as well. So he actually, spoke on my behalf, and we were, in agreement with me and him. And I could see how everything, turned around. And everyone was, at the end, like, very happy for the decision I had taken. Even my mom, even my dad, when he came back, he first sulked for about a few days. Then, he came around, and then I remember driving in a car with him, and him explaining to me how he met my mom, and how he also, went through the same thing. It went back to something that he knows, that it's not always an easy process, but yeah, we did it. And I think also we were very happy that it came through, because we wanted to spend,
But we were expelled from church.
Yes, we should have.
Yeah, rightfully so. Rightfully so, we were expelled at church, and when we got married, we had to.
As should have at the time, because Ella Pressure, I think things were like very strict.
Yes. They were very strict at the time, and
I understand.
I sort of understand.
Understood.
I sort of understood, because there was a plan in place already.
Okay.
So,
I get you.
but when we were expelled, I was very hurt. I remember even before we got
It was
expelled.
about the rules.
Yes, it was about the rules. And before we got expelled, I remember when this lady said she was going to report me. Before that, I tried to get rid of him. I tried to tell him leave me alone. And there was a prophet visiting our church. He did not go to church on that day. It was before he actually went to church with me. So he was still not going to church with me. I went to the conference and then I came back. This prophet was calling people by names and doing all sorts of miracles. When I came back, I thought, oh, I've got a plan for this man to leave me alone. I came back and I said, hey, there was a prophet at church and calling people by name, and he called my name. And he said to me, you have a boyfriend. And this boyfriend is distracting you from the things of God. And nothing can stand before the things of God. If God has to kill this man, he will kill him. I was like, what? Do you remember that? But the response I got was not what I expected, because I thought he was going to be terrified and say, oh, you know what, actually, let me just leave you. The way he was so calm was like, what? I'll be waiting because I'm not going anywhere. How do I get rid of this man? Yeah, but it was... Yeah, it worked out for the best. We got expelled. We fellowshipped at another church for a few months. We got married. Getting married was a struggle. Like our actual, getting the officiation or the officiating of our marriage was a bit of a struggle because we needed to find a pastor to marry. So getting our marriage, finding a marriage official was very difficult because now we needed to find a pastor to marry us. Everything, now the lobola was through, everything was done, and we wanted now to get married. And finding a pastor to get married was very difficult. It wasn't a wedding. Our day was just it was on the 16th of December. So I got a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, and my husband got a very close friend of his. I got a dress and I got a pair of heels and I got my hair up. Oh, the pictures. And then we went to this pastor's house, and that's where he officiated our marriage. And that was it. After that, we went out and we had breakfast, and that was it. I actually know, so we're very different. We're very different. I am out there, I'm loud, and he's very calm and reserved and just very, very calm. And in that calmness, also very sensitive. Now, with me, something that I've also learned is that now our biggest arguments would be some things when something happens, and I'm like, oh, but you're being so sensitive. Why are you being sensitive? And to him, he's like, but why do you have to be like this? I think that's where most of our arguments came from. I'm saying came from because now, after a lot of, and that happened for years, I had an aha moment, I think last year or the year before, I literally had an aha moment at work. I was like, because I realized that, you know what? I can't expect him to be like me because I'm open, and now I can't keep telling him that he's being sensitive about things. I also need to change the way I do things to accommodate him. I must be considerate of him and him being sensitive. I can't always be expecting him to understand that. It was not right. I needed to also think before I say, because so I needed to consider his sensitive instead of wanting to change him, come out of that, sensitive, which was wrong because that's how he was. And I found that a lot of our arguments were based on that. I was like, you being I mean, this is nothing. And to him, it was a big thing.
Yeah.
And didn't understand, but and I'm thinking, but then I got that moment. But I remember I was at work, I was like, No, man, I'm actually the problem, and I'm actually causing these unnecessary arguments because I'm always pushing back. But it's super sensitive. And to me, it was like, now, realizing I was like, now it's gonna subanjena. So, I think that was it for him.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Most of our arguments came from our personalities, and like my wife says, that we are different. So, and I think during conflict, it really, now that I know that it really, is a mirror of our weaknesses, So as much as she mentioned now that she had that aha moment, and I believe that from there our arguments, decreased, because not only did she get the aha moment, but also for me, it was a process for me, trying to, change or look at things in her point of view. Even if I am sensitive, there's a way that I should be able to learn, to unshell, or there's a way, if she doesn't necessarily do it now, it doesn't mean that, she's against, me being sensitive by her raising. So by her raising, something to say, but, this thing is not a big thing, and I think that's what I like about her.
Before we got married, we actually play dating process, and and we actually had sex, right? And for me, after the deed, I was devastated, and it was just not nice. I felt wrong, and it was. And then when I got married, it was like so beautiful. I was like, why did I not wait until I married? Because it was just so beautiful. It changed. It was just extra. And so that whole thing, even that moment, in the moment, it was not nice. When I think of it now, it was not nice. I think it was just pressure, or because we knew that abantu abage relationship are doing it. But in terms of enjoyment, it was there was none. It was just a wham bam, like get it over and done with. And also the most ugly part of it was when we were done, and the regret, the shame, because we were like, how could we do this? We vowed we were going to keep ourselves until our wedding night, or until the night when we get married. But we did this. The disgust we had in ourselves was just not worth it. It was just not worth it.
Yeah, and I think on my side, I also felt, exactly the same. And I think for me, I felt it more because, I was considering you, and I hated, for you to go through that, and I think, I when I look back at it, it's not something you're proud of, and obviously, like you mentioned, after we got married, it became so beautiful, and you wish that we could have waited.
You could have kept,
because
it was not worth it.
There was something. There's a reason why you need to wait.
Yeah.
And you would miss out on that when you go before the time, and it does leave a gap. But I think through God's grace, then we managed to overcome that, quicker. And we were able to enjoy the moment.
Even now, now that we married, right? I still sometimes wonder about how would our first night would have been had our first night not have been before marriage? Like I can't. Okay, now I've gotten over the part of regret and all of that because it's done and I can't change it. But I still wonder about how would our first night would have been had I not, because I did it and it was not even worth it. It was really not worth it. And when I think about it, a lot could have happened in that moment. I did not enjoy it. It was not worth it. I regretted it afterwards. A lot could have happened. I could have fallen pregnant. Who knows if we would have gone through now and actually gotten married. There's a lot that could have happened with that little moment of weakness. There's a lot that could have changed. And I think that's the benefit of waiting, is that you save yourself from the regret. You save yourself from that moment where ungakwazi nothandaza because you are thinking, oh my Lord, you are so shameful. I did this knowingly. You save yourself from any oopsies that can happen, because if an oopsie happens when you chat, it's not an oopsie. Yeah, man, when you are married. But if you are not married, there are oopsies that can happen, and some oopsies cannot be taken away. You know, they will stick with you for life, and that cannot guarantee you, Bana, that guy will stick around for life. So rather, I would strongly advise that wait until your wedding night or your marriage night. It's not, before then, it's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it at all. Okay, so when we got married, I had a daughter from a previous relationship, and my husband also had a daughter from the previous relationship. And when I met my husband, I was staying with my daughter, and his daughter was staying with her mom in PE. So the challenge that we had was also, now I had to introduce him to my daughter, and I was not very keen on that, because I was like, I'm not going to introduce you as a boyfriend to my daughter. First of all, I do not want to promote this boyfriend thing to her. And I don't know, you saying that you're going to marry me, but I don't know. But I can't say that I'm certain. And because of that, even though he met me staying with my daughter, when we were busy in the relationship and we're talking of marriage and we're getting close, we were seeing a lot of each other, I actually had to send my daughter back to the Eastern Cape because I didn't want to expose her in this until we got married. Also with his side, with his daughter, because obviously she's with the mom, and I also tried, when we got married now, I built a relationship with the baby mama, because now it was very important that she understands, she gets to know me. Because I think a lot of times what causes conflict is because she doesn't know you, you don't know her, and nobody's willing to budge and make the effort. So with me, it was a matter of, I'm going to make the effort because so I needed to make that child a part of our lives, which now involves, because I need to get through the mother to get to the child. So that way, an environment for me and the baby and mama umdana to get to know each other, so that azokwazi ukukhulela naye umntana uba umntana aze kuthi, because tata kulapha eKapa nam, nobody is going to want to send their child out to a stranger. I mean, we can say that, but to be honest, the one person that's going to be looking after the child is the mother, the wife of your husband. So it's very important that the wife and the baby mama have some sort of relationship, not to be best buddies. I'm not saying they should be best buddies, but to have a relationship, because that child needs to have a relationship with you as the wife as well, like they're going to have with their father. So it was not much of a challenge with us, because I think it's also got to do with pride. One of the parties, or both parties, bane pride ba andizogoba kuye okanye andizocela nto kuye okanye andizothinthina kuye, because anamntana naye from the baby mama side. Mhlawumbi athi umntu anamntana naye akho nto ndithethe naye, okanye nam as a wife ba ayibo anamntana naye nakho nto ndizayithetha naye. Kanti ibani nosebenzisana, this will make your life easy, and it would also make the baby mama's life easy. It makes, in our case, it's very easy because I managed to build a relationship with her, so it's very easy for us because we talk without even including him sometimes, because we are both mothers of this child, and we both want what's best for this child, and she believes that I want it because ndiyamthanda utata walomntana. So girl, andina choice, andizokwazi ukuthi ndithanda utata wakhe but andimthanda umntana wakhe endifike enaye futhi. So I have no choice. Can't sit here, I accept, I'm saying yes to him as my husband. I'm also saying yes to that child as my child, because I need to play a role naphayana. Whether I like it or not, I have a role to play, because utata uzawufuna umntana wakhe all day. Andizothi xa izomntana ke all day ndithi ake mna ndihamba ndiye endaweni ethile. I need to play a role yobumama kulaa mntana xa eze all day nje bezabeze kutata wakhe. So the core of it is the relationship being built by the parents, both mama, tata, and the mhlawumbi baby mama nayo etshatile okanye has a partner. Wonke umntu abuild a relationship, understanding that we are all doing this for the goodness of umntana, and it actually does work. It does.
I think maybe I can add, and both of us coming into a marriage with kids, you know, challenges will be there. And for me, I think, you know, I wanted it so much to work, you know, and I wanted, and I was willing, you know, to do anything, you know, because I love my wife, I love my kids as well. So it had to be something that we're going to speak in our home, and it's going to happen. And so I think, like she's mentioned it, it's so important that parties work together, because to raise a child, you know, you need the whole community. It's not an easy thing. So I think, you know, now we get to, because we, you know, like you mentioned, you know, took out our pride, you know, and we actually sat down and we tried to make, you know, or come up with an agreement of how we're going to make this work. So there are efforts that one needs to put in, you know, when you have children outside marriage, and you need to make an effort to ensure that, you know, it is something that is special and is something that is good. Because sometimes I think we expect it to bring, you know, these results without any work being put in, and then there you find that it becomes more challenges. So I think, yeah, I think it's good.
So my weakest points in marriage were, so when I got married, I had already, when I met my husband, I was already working, I had my own things, and he made me trying to get my life in order, you know. So when we got married, there was always the thing, Yoba, even though I prayed for marriage, and this was my marriage that I prayed for, but whenever we had an argument, but I get, you know, like it was as if I had one foot in and one foot out, like I was ready for it. But I, you know, like, but whenever we hit a challenge or we have an argument that's big, I'm like, you know what, I could do this. I did it without you, you know. That I think that was the girls as chata noko says khulile says independent. Yeah, take note of this, don't do this. When you get married, you're thinking, you know what, I could do this without you. I can do it, like I can, like, you know what, I can, you know, I have my life. And that was wrong. That was wrong for me. And it's taught me so much, because after that I actually went back and I said, did you not pray to God for a marriage? first of all, zange uthandaza uba ufuna utshata, and now usemtshatweni and you have talks of going out. Was that your intention? And I found that it was also a way of, I did not want to face challenges, marriage challenge. It was a coping mechanism for me. But instead of bandidishane a challenge,
Yeah.
so, which was wrong. I've learned now that after dealing with one and moving on to the another, I actually learned, but you know what? There's nothing that can come before us without me having to say, but ingathi ndihleli nje naye ubaba noba wayeqonda uba hey kutheni namhlanje ndithreatenishwa ngolahlwa, like ingathi nguboyfriend uba hayi kaloku sinoske siyeke, ingathi ndithetha ngesijolo kodwa kutshatiwe, hayi bye, every time we hit a block, hayi kunoske kuyeke. So having that, it actually taught me, even outside of marriage, I can't just leave into because it's not going my way. Because it was in those instances where, because remember, he'd met me being independent for quite some time. I left home quite young, and I was male and I'd worked my life, so I was used to doing things my way. So now I had to have him as an input in some of the things I'm doing in the house or whatever. And now if I was not getting my way, because I was so used to getting things my way, but because so it also taught me in other aspects of life, but not everything is going to go my way. Sometimes I actually have to face it and also value another person's input. So it was a big one. It was a big one for me.
Just to identify one of the weaknesses I think I had before, where you think that you're always right, and what I've learned from that is that sometimes really you need to actually, take time. We always say that, or we know that listening is a skill, but we don't really listen, and it's something that I've been really working on, where, sometimes I lose my wife if I go on and go on, and many of times she used to stop me to say, but, or we would argue about something because we're talking, both of us, and we don't even know what we're arguing about, and we're sort of drifting. But she always had a way to sort of saying that she actually opens up and says that you're losing me. What you're saying now, I don't understand, and it does not make sense. And where I'm trying to explain, where actually I sometimes just need to listen to what she's saying, and then be able to respond. And sometimes doesn't mean that if I don't respond, there's anything wrong, to that. So I think I've learned, that I need to listen more and respond less. Baba, no. Stano Sam, Madita, Mapelang, I love you so much. You have been the best thing to me. You have been the best wife to me and the kids. We appreciate you. It's so true, and now I realize that, when I wanted a wife to have and to hold and to cherish. So I love you so much, and I wish that God will give you, more wisdom. He will give you everything that your heart desires, and use me, where He wants me to be. So I love you so much.
Papa, no. You're the best thing that's ever happened. You know, when I wanted to get married, when I wanted a husband, I had this idea of how my husband would be. I had this idea of how marriage would be, and it was beautiful. It was good, but God gave me you. God gave me you, and you were the best. You know, I wanted good. He didn't give me better, but he gave me the best. He super exceeded my expectation of what a husband could be. He super exceeded my expectation of what marriage could be. You're so sweet, you're so kind, you're so loving, and thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for caring for me. Thank you for being my number one supporter, my motivator. Thank you for being my preacher, my teacher of the word, my prayer buddy. Inkosi mntwam, Inkosi ngondithanda, with my flaws and with my loudness and my personality. Thank you for not trying to change me. Thank you for being so kind, your heart, inhliziyo yakho, your love. You know, you teach me so much, and I truly appreciate that. I truly appreciate every single thing that you do for me. Nothing goes unnoticed. Nothing goes unnoticed. And if ndingaya back to what I had in mind of marriage, let me just show you what I can do, and he gave me you. You're the best thing that I could have ever imagined, and I love you so much, and I can't wait to grow old with you. Like, no, people can't rap over my doll. You know, I can't wait to grow old with you. I love you so much. For all that you do for me and for all that you do for our kids. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I thank God for you. Can't thank God enough. I can't. I love you so much.
Love you too.
Oh, sogalam, tangolam, dalangi mochela kawe, ukuti